Hello and welcome to Zeke's Creations. Today I'm opening a bag of Lego. So, my brother found this at a thrift store for $17.50. And from what we can tell, there are a bunch of really good sets in here and mostly complete. Though there are no minifigures, they separated those and were selling those alone for like $25, which is a lot for what they are. So but this was a really good deal from what I can see in here. And so we're gonna start by just cutting this tape along here, trying to avoid damaging the bag itself too much though, so parts don't fall out of holes while I'm going through. So the goal of this video will be to open this up and try to put together the sets as close to complete as I can. And see, here's a hole where some parts already came out. So this set, I'm not sure if this one is actually in here. I don't see the parts, so this may just be instructions for something else. So let's start by getting out this bag. This looks like mostly some small extra and spare parts, so there are a couple larger ones mixed in that I may need to pull out later while I'm building. Here is a cabin to a ship in here. Probably the most exciting part, I actually do not have a ship hull this size yet, so this was a really good find. So this right here is a fire rescue ship. I'm not sure what year. Once I have pulled out all the parts, I will start trying to find instructions or pictures for as many as I can to try to get them put together as close to complete as I can. This appears to be side builds for some sort of construction or city set. You can see road type things, like there's benches, road signs. And this appears as if it would be part of the ship, because you can see the water hoses, like water guns almost. Here's another bag of parts. Nothing much here. Except, wait, oh, this is part of some Star Wars set. Oh, okay. I will look more at this later, because I see some good parts in here. Some parts I don't have. I don't collect Star Wars much personally, but I do really love the minifigures. Actually, a lot of my rarest minifigures are from Star Wars. This appears to be some sort of small construction vehicle. This appears to be part of a dump truck. Wonder if I'll find the rest of that. And then here is a almost complete plane. I believe I should find most, if not all, of the rest of this. plane, at least. May not the rest of the set, but it looks like I'll find probably most of the rest of this in the slot. And you can open up and there's some seating. So, and this does add more plane parts to my collection. So this lot already, I personally think is worth the price I paid. This, from the looks of it, I would think is a Creator 3-in-1, probably polybag set, because it's so small, and the simplicity, and because of the simplicity of the build. Either that or like a $10 set. This is going to be another part of that ship. You can see this cool pulley underneath. It doesn't affect anything, really. Like, I think it may add a bit more tension, but it's more for aesthetics, which I find really cool. And then this can extend a bit and rotate. And then the rest is a bunch of more miscellaneous type parts. All of these, I think, go. I think all the rest of the parts go to the sets I've already identified. And that's why I believe this set is most likely almost complete. So that appears to be all in the bag. I'm now going to see about pulling up some instructions for one of the sets. I think I'll start with the ship, so give me just a minute to try to pull up some digital instructions. So after some looking, I found that this ship is Lego set 7207 from the City theme. It came out in 2009. And I've pulled up the instructions. I can do my best to build up the set from those. It starts with this. Doesn't need much on this. It has this little bit for motor. It's supposed to have a couple more parts. I don't see them right now. I'll see if I spot them later when there's less pieces lying around. Next is a little radio tower, starting with this. Or wait, I think this may be a buoy, and it uses these. Whoever built this originally put this part in the wrong way. So that's the first complete part of the ship. Now we start on the main ship. Right here, I'm making sure the rear of the ship is all put together properly. Next, I need another one of these pieces, so that's what I'm looking for. It's going to go right at the end. Once again, I'm having trouble finding this part to go back here, so I'm going to come back to that later when there are less parts and see if I can find it then. So I got all these parts right here and those. This right here, it's supposed to hold some scuba tank masks, but it appears they may have been removed with the minifigures that they were selling separately. Here I'm building up I believe the upper deck. Like these will be the supports for the upper deck of the ship. So this is a really good find because I can use all these parts, especially the parts of the ship, like the hull and the parts of the plane, for other builds in the future. This panel is correct. The one next to it is, that is. There's supposed to be another mug here. I'm not going to look for it right now. I'll probably find it later. I was just knocking a loose part out of there. Right here, it's the same as this beam. Right now I'm looking for another one of these to go right there. Here it is. These are placed correctly. So these are placed correctly. These are. And then these go right here. And now it starts on the upper deck. So these are going to act as mounts for those water guns. Pushed a bit too hard on that one. And then I use these tiles to keep that from happening. Right here appears that I need to add these. And then in the center here, I think there's going to be some sort of ramp or trapdoor maybe. Not sure quite yet what it will end up being. But it uses this joint. Yep, it is a door. It uses this. This part here is actually usually used for RVs and campers at the top. And a lot of times semi-trucks too. So it's cool to see different use here. Feel like it could have been made with a bit of a stronger piece, like a joint with a bit more structure that maybe sticks out in the back and is covered, but maybe they address that later. Here I'm going to add in these slopes of different sizes. I believe this set actually only has like 307 pieces, but it's pretty sizable for the amount of parts it has. This next part is this hull. I'm going to see if it's already complete before I add it. This is all properly put together, so it's ready to add. But first, I'm going to show. This is, as you can see, St. John I was talking about earlier. Something I forgot to mention. This, since it doesn't really seat too well with how much pressure you have to put on it, it usually falls off. Pretty sure they've replaced it with a better one with more structure to it. And then the top here just needs a couple parts. There's this cool, just like boat light part. I actually don't have many of these, so that's another good part that I get out of this. And find it just a cool little one you don't see too often. And then it appears there will be more water guns up here. And it just needs a couple antenna up here. Well, it needs an antenna and then some lights, which I think I'll find in here. I think it's this color. The problem is with LEGO instructions, it's always a bit hard to tell. They never quite color match with their parts. So this is my best guess. And that does not appear to go there. At least so far. Now I'm starting on the crane arms, I believe. So we're gonna continue with this. I think this is taking a while, so I think I will finish the ship, and then in another video I will show all the sets completed and go into more depth which set each one is and how much they're worth. See how much I got out of this find. So here I'm building, I believe, just a little water firing station. I find these designs a little interesting. Just, what they decide to go for. So here it appears I'm creating a swivel seat. To house all of this. It appears the gun that's supposed to be on this was put on the plane by whoever owned this previously. So here it is. I think there's one last part, like a valve type part. I'm not seeing right now, so I'll get back to it later. Oh, and here is one of the missing mugs from inside. This will now go right here on the edge. And it is a swiveling water firing station. Now it's time for all of the water guns. So this part here that they use for these guns, it's actually quite interesting. This is a older part. It's not retired, but it is it was used for making weapons like this. But I think one of the original uses may have been a laser blaster for Chewbacca from the Star Wars scene. I think I cannot confirm that at the moment, so do not take it as a fact. That's just what I believe it was used for. Right now I'm just confirming that this is also built correctly. Okay, so this is all put together properly, and it just goes right here toward the end. And so it can swivel, it can apparently not sit too well. I think that's about as well as it'll sit, but it can swivel, it can raise and lower, it can move in and out, and then it has several ranges of motion at the end. So that is just about the completed set, excluding the minifigures. So overall, I think it's a pretty decent set. Of course, as I pointed out throughout the build, there are some parts like these joints that are more obsolete now and they have not replaced, and some parts were put on a bit more weak than others, and nowadays it would be a lot more sturdy and complete of a build. But overall it's pretty good, and I don't know the price. I'll do that in follow. I'll tell the original price in a follow-up video, but I bet this was a lot cheaper than what you'd get for the same price nowadays. Nowadays you'd get a more sturdy but much smaller build for the same price, if I had to guess. So that's about it for this video. The next one will be a follow-up showing all the sets put together, and I'll go into the details on them, including release year, name, and original price and current value. I hope you enjoyed. Thank you for watching.